How's it going, everyone? It feels like the gaming world is still reeling from the incredible success of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I completed the game a little bit after it came out. I mean, I no-lifed that game for a while, and I've had quite a few friends message me their thoughts on the ending, them completing the game, their overall thoughts on the game, them wanting to play games like this, which I find really interesting, and I want to talk a little bit about that alongside some updates about the game and how it's doing. As far as sales numbers, it's doing incredibly well on Steam, it's doing incredibly well on the PlayStation Store, and the head of Sandfall Interactive spoke a little bit on the development of the game, talking about how if it was made by a big company, it would take a lot longer. We'll talk that at the end of this video, and I also want to give my thoughts on some of the other aspects of this game's success, and also based on reading the comments and just some of the anecdotal responses I've gotten from my friends that are, I would say, fringe hardcore gamers, in the sense that they'll follow gaming, but they're not super invested into every game that comes out. But I'll talk more on that at the end of this video. Alright, right off the bat, this game is the highest rated Metacritic title of all time. As of the recording of this video, it has a 9.7. On top of that, it is one of the highest rated games on the PlayStation Store as well, having a user rating of 4.92. There are a couple of games that come close on Metacritic. I believe Amori is at a 9.1, and Amori is a lesser known title as well. Super underrated, super trippy as well. You know, that's a game that I would not recommend for everyone, but I've talked to people that have absolutely resonated with that game. But yeah, it is a little bit dark and grim, to say the least. There's Vampire Survivors and Split Fiction on the PlayStation Store at a 4.88, Persona 5 at a 4.87, Hades, Signalist at a 4.86. Obviously, Obscur Expedition 33 ranks among the highest games ever on Metacritic and PlayStation Store. On Steam, it's actually a little bit lesser received. Not to say it's badly received or anything like that. It is at, as I'm pulling it up right now, a very positive reception with 31,000 reviews, 93% positive. There are technical issues here and there, and I feel like that would be the main point of contention. Some people, to be fair, have not gravitated towards the battle system. You know, it is what it is. It's a turn-based game done really well, and I feel like the battle system is the natural evolution of what a turn-based game should become. But you know what? A 93% positive reaction on Steam. If that's one of the lesser outlets as far as review reception goes, that's outstanding. I mean, a 93% is incredible. Games generally try to hit for that overwhelmingly positive on Steam. That's 95% and above, so it's just shy of that. But as I'm recording this video as well, 104,000 concurrent players on Steam as well. Why this is so incredible is we are in weekend 2 of the game. Weekend 2 have just passed. The fact that it sustained that player base is incredibly impressive. Also, mind you, this is not a live service game that would naturally build in momentum as all of your friends are playing it. You're jumping on board as well, so you can play the game together. Expedition 33 is a single-player narrative-driven game. However, it has absolutely benefited from word of mouth. It's not like Expedition 33 has had this significant marketing campaign that everybody's known about this game since it got revealed. Sure, people like me were doing videos on it from Jump Street, and we thought the game had a lot of potential, but really, and I said this in previous videos, what was gonna make this game do incredibly well, and this game has done better than my wildest imagination. I never would have expected this game to do this well, but I had said in previous videos there was one final thing that they had to nail on, from the promotion of the game being strong, but ultimately it was a new IP from a new studio. They had to land well the landing. They had to deliver a quality game, and boom, they delivered one of the best games of the year, arguably, with GTA 6 getting delayed. This could be the front runner for Game of the Year. Certainly some competition ahead. You've got all those Nintendo games, you've got Ghosts of Yotei, you've got Death Stranding 2, you've got games I'm sure that are gonna get announced, but Expedition 33 winning Game of the Year would be such a statement, and I said this in previous videos, but the idea of a new IP from a brand new studio winning Game of the Year, that is almost unheard of. Last year, you had a game like Balatro getting nominated. You know, that's a big deal. Astrobot, you could say that, hey, Asabi's a fairly new studio, and Astrobot, while not a new IP, kinda is in the sense that it was the first big budget title, but it's still being held by a major publisher in Sony. Yes, Kepler developers involved in the release of this, but Sandfall's a brand new studio, and this is something that came straight out of left field, and it winning Game of the Year, I just think would be so consequential for gaming in totality, and that's why I hope it wins Game of the Year. At the end of the day, what game is the best Game of the Year is going to be totally subjective. I look at Game of the Year from the lens of what game winning Game of the Year would be consequential to the industry itself, and I feel like Expedition 33 would be that. And what Game of the Year award would actually elevate a studio's notoriety, would elevate an IP. It would be Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Split Fiction winning it would be cool as well, but, you know, Expedition 33 obviously more up my alley as far as the game is concerned. Also, there were some interesting details about Expedition 33's development, which I feel like is something that has been analyzed to death as far as this being a fairly small studio working on a game that was received incredibly well. I've seen that people have been starting a meme as far as just every time they talk about the small development studio, the number just goes lower and lower, and all of a sudden people are saying, yeah, yo, Expedition 33 was developed by a team of 4 people, but nonetheless, you get the idea in the sense that it was done by a fairly small studio, and the studio boss, Sandfall Interactive boss, Guillaume Broche, my apologies if I butchered the pronunciation of his name. Now, this was via a translation, so some things could be a little bit dodgy. It was noted, yeah, very clearly, projects like these with new IPs, original stories, completely original characters are super hard to push through in a big company. There are a lot of approval steps, and in general, in big structures, you already have to have proven yourself and be pretty high up in the hierarchy just to have a chance at pitching this kind of project. That's why I would say a studio like a Naughty Dog can pitch something so different, intergalactic, a brand new IP, and Sony's gonna greenlight it, and they're gonna push it like crazy. However, Sandfall, again, is this unproven studio. How are they gonna get this title greenlit by a major publisher? And it was noted, so yeah, for me, a project like this would have taken 25 years to make in a big company, and I don't have that much patience. We also wanted to do things our own way and really create an atmosphere. That's what this game is, creating a vibe. Sandfall, being an indie studio, helped develop the game the right way, and I think we succeeded. It's also because we did things right. We got some really nice offices with a big garden. We play every lunchtime, which even shows up in the game to create a game that feels passionate. We really needed that group of friends making something together. And I do think it's a little bit of a simplification of, oh, any small studio can come out and make a game like this. That's why, like, I get it, you guys. Some of you guys are like, oh, you're setting your expectations too low. I feel like it's unrealistic to expect any studio to just jump aboard and be like, oh, we're gonna put out a masterclass in game development like Clair Obscur Expedition 33. The game is incredibly unique. The soundtrack is incredible. The storytelling, I think, is fascinating, albeit a bit divisive by the end. And maybe this is me naturally having a lesser expectation out of video games these days. To have that be the barometer and the benchmark and expecting other games at all times to hit that level, I just feel like that's a little bit unrealistic. You kind of need the Enslaved Odyssey to the west of the world, and that's a game I love, but that's a game that's a little bit more middle of the road. And Atlas Fallen, for example, like, these games come out, and I can't expect all of these games to be at the level of an Expedition 33. Now, is there a happy medium where games can be tailored not to be Expedition 33, but follow the fundamental principles and the passion that Expedition 33 has? Yeah, I think that's a totally different topic, and I think you can see that passion seep through in games, even if it's not at the quality level of Expedition 33, you could still feel passion out of games. For example, I feel a lot of passion went into, like, Split Fiction. I totally feel that, and that's a game published by EA, but Hazelight, it really does feel like that passion comes through, and, you know, Split Fiction's also an incredible game, but you get the idea as far as that's concerned. And it was continued by saying that's something you can really only do in an indie studio. The game might seem big, but here in Monopeller, we're only 25 people. We all know each other well. So yeah, it's much harder to pull something like this off in a big studio than a small one, but starting your own studio is super hard too. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, it's a lot of hard work. As a founder, you get very few vacations and sleepless nights for a few years, but it's worth it, totally worth it, and I'm sure the success of the game has made it incredibly worth it. By the way, if you guys didn't see the note, it does look like the game is potentially getting DLC, and I think it makes all the sense in the world. My outlook on it is they should do DLC, they should repackage it in 2026 as Clair Obscur Expedition 33 Game of the Year Edition with the DLC. You port it to the Nintendo Switch too, and you get more of those physical copies out there as well, as physical copies are selling out. Now, it does look like Kepler is going to get more physical copies of the game out there, but you pack in the DLC, you do ideally all the content on the disc, and maybe it won't be a game keycard download on the Switch too. You know, and that's me saying that the game is going to be able to be ported on the Switch too. I'm sure easier said than done, but I'm fairly confident they could figure it out, especially with the resources I'm sure they would have at their disposal. But you pack in the DLC, Game of the Year Edition in 2026, I think that would do very, very well, and you're reproducing the game, more people are going to check it out. I think that just makes a lot of sense. I will say, as I am talking to a lot of people that are completing the game, and more so people that don't play Japanese RPGs or are very fringe fans of JRPGs, I constantly am hearing it over and over again that, and again, this is from relative casuals, and when you look at how much this game is succeeding on Steam and PC versus other JRPGs, like, it is doing better than a Metaphor Refantasio as far as concurrent player counts go. I just hear it over and over again. I love Clair Obscur Expedition 33. I want to play more turn-based RPGs. However, I don't really vibe with the anime aesthetic. I've heard that so many times, and it just seems like that's something I'll hear over and over again. Now, I don't know if it's entirely just on the anime aesthetic, or they want a big budget turn-based title. Maybe the Japanese aesthetic, that anime aesthetic, to an extent can work, but they want the big budget feel to it that a Square Enix can offer you if they did prioritize the development of a Final Fantasy game, a mainline Final Fantasy game with a turn-based style. Maybe that's what more people are looking forward to, because I can recommend games like Legend of Heroes. I'm telling you right now, the people that have hit me up that are more so on the fringe as far as playing a lot of video games, Legend of Heroes would not be up their alley. As much as I want more people to play Legend of Heroes, I'm realistic in the sense that Legend of Heroes is always going to be more of a niche franchise. You can look at games like Chained Echoes and Sea of Stars and games of that caliber, even an Octopath Traveler, aesthetically and from a budget standpoint and presentation standpoint, for a lot of people, that is just not going to be up their alley. As good as Octopath Traveler is, as good as Chained Echoes is, as good as Sea of Stars is, these games are just not going to be up the alley of a lot of people, and I almost have to just concede that. You have to accept that, and a big reason why Expedition is so successful is its visuals, is the aesthetics. I think that has drawn a lot of people in, on top of all of the other elements, incredible soundtracks. It's all of these things coming together, but I do think that's going to be a barrier of entry for people getting into games like an Octopath or a Chained Echoes or a Sea of Stars or a Legend of Heroes, where from a technical standpoint and artistically, they're just so different than Expedition 33. But that'll do it for me. Interested to hear what you guys think. Trying to stay away from spoilers. Again, the ending of the game, I've heard so many opinions, and a lot of the plot twists and things like that. I love the direction of the story. I totally get why people would be reserved on it, but I absolutely loved how they took the story, and the philosophical undertones by the end of the game I just thought were fantastic. But that'll do it for me. All of your thoughts down below in the comment section. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.